31 women on the main roster and all too talented to leave out of WrestleMania. How can we get them all on the card? Just keep watching. Welcome to the still terribly named OK Not OK podcast. I am the SportsZu, and today we're booking every single female onto the WrestleMania weekend card. And yes, next week we'll do the guys, but we've got 31 talented women to talk about here today, so let's get right onto it with first our confirmed matches. And officially, there's only one that's set in stone, and that is your WWE Women's Championship between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. We will, of course, not change that one. But after this week's Raw, we have the Women's World Championship up in the air still, with Rhea Ripley getting her rematch against Io Sky, and then the winner will face Bianca Belair. And yeah, with Bianca as the special guest referee, I think we all know that Bianca will be taking out both of them. No winner will be declared, and we will have a triple threat match, so of course we will stick with that. Alright, so let's get to our match that is not official, but incredibly obvious, which is Jade Cargill against Naomi. There's simply no other way to go here, so we're not gonna even try to touch that. Alright, now let's get tricky here with our other title matches. We have only 4 SmackDowns and 3 Raws left to go before WrestleMania, so we need to act quickly. And so let's get it started with the Women's Intercontinental Championship, and Lyra Valkyria defeated Raquel Rodriguez this past week on Raw. And of course she had to be saved by Bayley after the match, so we'll get back to her. And we do need a #1 contender, so let's start this off with, on this week's Raw, Liv and Raquel beat up Bayley to get revenge for this week. But then Lyra gets there late, but she is able to save Bayley and shoos Liv and Raquel away. So shortly later, we see Ivy wanting another shot at the IC title, but Dakota says it should be her instead because she beat Ivy on March 17th. So Adam Pearce books a #1 contenders match between those two, and I know it is hard to believe, but Raquel interferes in that match as well, so Ivy wins the match to be the #1 contender. Bayley then has no path to WrestleMania, so she is quite upset about this and asks Pearce for a match against Raquel, and they will accept that match. So Liv and Raquel don't care at all about this match, and of course really just want to beat Bayley up. And that means Lyra has to return the favor and make the save for Bayley. So afterwards, backstage, Lyra tells Bayley that she has her respect and she deserves to be at WrestleMania. So Lyra tries to get Pearce to add Bayley to this match, but Pearce is for some reason slow about this, and he says Bayley has to earn this title shot. So then Bayley has to face Ivy with the stipulation that if Bayley wins, it becomes a triple threat match, but if she loses, it stays as a one-on-one match. And yeah, there's not going to actually be any interference in this one, so Bayley is going to win, and we're going to make this a triple threat match. But oh yeah, remember what I said in my WrestleMania predictions video, that if Becky still wants to come back, she's going to pull off the same thing she did at SummerSlam, and instead of getting a one-on-one match against Bianca by taking out Carmella, this is going to turn into a fatal 4-way match. Up next, we'll talk about the women's tag team titles, and Aldis and Pearce announce a tournament for the #1 contender for Liv and Raquel's title. And so those two, of course, complain about it, but I don't know why they would, because you would think they would want to have a match at WrestleMania. However, that's just not how these things work. So on Raw, the only entrants are Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler, and a brand new team of Natalya and Maxine Dupree, who we have seen speaking to each other in the background for the last several weeks. So Liv and Raquel do their normal thing, and they take out both teams so that we get no winner. Alright, then on the SmackDown side, it is the Hervis taking on Michin and B-Fab in the first round, and so Chelsea makes the difference here and the Hervis wins. Then in our second match we have Nia Jax and Candice LeRae taking on Carter and Chance, who have not reappeared on the show since Aldis had them in their office to say that they were moving to SmackDown. However, for unknown reasons, Alexa Bliss comes out and interferes with Nia. We did see those two have an interaction about a month ago now at this point, but we've got to come back around to that, so Carter and Chance get the win. And we think this is the end, but back on Raw, Dakota complains to Adam Pearce about Liv and Raquel interrupting that women's IC championship match, so Pearce apologizes but says there's nothing he can do about it now. However, Dakota wants her hands on Liv and Raquel in a tag team title match, so Pearce says if she finds a tag partner, she can at least have a match against Liv and Raquel to be added to this match. And yeah, her mystery partner is the returning Kairi Sane, and I really hope she's not that hurt because this obviously goes right down the drain if she's not able to compete. Anyways, with a little bit of help from Io Sky, it is Dakota Kai and Kairi Sane picking up this win. But now back on SmackDown, we do still technically have to get a winner in that tournament, but yeah, Liv and Raquel are just gonna mess this up since they are allowed to go on both shows, and so Aldis adds them both in. So all of a sudden, instead of a traditional tag, we now have a 6-pack challenge that will be a tornado tag elimination match at WrestleMania. But that takes us to the Women's United States Championship, so Zelina Vega complains to Nick Aldis for Chelsea and Alba interfering in her match last week. But then Michin and B-Fab also come in, storming in at the same time to complain about interference in the tag match. So Aldis comes up with a plan and he grants all three of them a triple threat match to be the #1 contender for the women's US title. And sure enough, during this match, it is Chelsea and the Hervis taking out all three of them during the match, and we have no winner in that contest. So, as you might guess, Nick Aldis has seen enough and he books a fatal 4-way match at WrestleMania between Chelsea, Michin, B-Fab, and Zelina. And so that takes us to another non-title match for WrestleMania weekend, where we have Nia Jax demanding to Nick Aldis to get her hands on Alexa Bliss after ruining her and Candice's shot to go for the tag team gold. And so Aldis, with that 3-hour show, does book a one-on-one match between Jax and Bliss. And of course, Nia and Candice don't care about the outcome of that match, so both of them just turn the table on Alexa right away to start a beatdown. But then, out of nowhere, the lights go out. And when they come back on, here is Nikki Cross making the save, and indeed, she's now going to be a part of the Wyatt Six. And this sets up a traditional tag match for WrestleMania between Nia and Candice taking on Alexa and Nikki. And we'll note that Scarlett did not have a televised match in the last year, so she is not included here. She can show up in next week's video for the guys with Karrion Kross. And of course, anyone else who has been injured is just not coming back, and we're also not putting any other legends in here. So with that, that is every single woman on the main roster is now booked for WrestleMania weekend in 7 matches, which would be a record for the women over WrestleMania weekend. And if you missed the doc talking about which of the 2 actual triple threat matches for WrestleMania is more compelling, be sure to go right on over here. And remember, next week I'll be talking about getting all the guys onto the WrestleMania card. And yes, I am the SportsZu, and this has been the OK Not OK podcast.